It's our time to shine. Show that's the kind of state of mind you gotta combine with hard work and time. You gotta climb to the top. Don't let yourself drop till your heart stops. Let this beat rock. Got a new clock and a new stock for this new rock. Just let your mind loose from the new stock. Drunk off the goose, thinking that I'm too pop. Getting caught with a few thoughts, cause I'm too lost. Off the speakers can't even handle me. Even what I got, nobody will drain my energy. And I will never stop. I'm motivated by enemies. Setting up shop so everybody remember me. And now I am not going through life regretfully. I'd rather work non-stop. They call it Cecily. Then want some more time just to live life pleasantly. Already got lost in my mind, not a fantasy. I'm getting all cotton souls, so stop, dropping, bro. You lost all control and pop off your ball. I got squat, I fall. I'm not bought, I'm sold. My stock rocks, it's gold. Hey, knock, she home and shit. Talk to close, I ain't stopping though. It's hip-hop, you know, or is it rock and roll? I'm not dropping tone, no, my pockets grow. You can't stop the show, so get rockin' on. So let me break it all down to you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. Give everyone a few minutes to get in here. Hello to everyone, especially members. Steve Aloha, M-Star Media, Work Lion. What's going on, everybody? Glad to have you here. Interesting topic for today. I want to talk tyranny. I want to talk Foia requests. I want to talk police murder. I want to talk Copsplaining. All these things that you guys are going to come across. Now, recently, I went through it myself. Well, you know, cops deny you FOIA. Did you know that you don't even have to fill out a FOIA form when you're getting your information? Please, while everyone's here, go ahead and smash that like button. We very much appreciate it. Hold on a second here. Very much appreciated. All right, now I'm monitoring the chat. So, there's been an awful lot. You'll see in the thumbnail. One thing I wanted to talk about is Shane Shoemate. And then we're going to go topic to topic. In case you didn't know, or maybe you did, I'm sure you guys have been keeping up to date as to what's going on. This is a picture of Sheriff's Deputy Derek Marvin, okay, from Delaware County in Indiana. This guy is just an absolute epic piece of shit. Shane Shoemate was coming out of his home when he saw several officers who he did not know were officers. It's nighttime. These officers are hiding under the cover of darkness in his yard. He emerges. He has his firearm in his pocket, but not in his hands. And the police say that he emerged armed from the rear of the residence. He ignored commands to drop his gun and fired his gun directly at Delaware County Sheriff's Deputy Derek Marvin. But then, as I showed you guys yesterday, we watched the body cam footage. No such event happened. He was armed, but the officer didn't know that. The firearm was in his pocket. He was going to investigate intruders that did not identify themselves as police. He could not have ignored commands to drop his gun because he was not holding one, but there were no commands. He simply exited his home and was shot several times. What's interesting about this case is he's now doing 36 years in prison. That's right, folks. He gets shot on his own property for doing nothing wrong, and he goes to prison. This is the times that we live in. And I also want to talk about Copsplaining. One of the best people in the field right now at shutting down Copsplaining and pignorance is actually in the chat right now. Press harder. Doing a great job. Put a 1 in the chat if you saw my my video today. Ignorant idiot oath breaker gets owned. Put a 1 in the chat if you've seen it. Put it 2 if you did not. But while everyone is in here, I would ask, we have 86 people. If all 86 people could smash that like button, I would greatly appreciate it. Anthony M., what's going on, brother? Music. All right, so a couple of people haven't seen it. I'll show it really quickly. And guys, just so you know, as you've seen, New videos are out. Hey, Freddie, great to see you. New videos are out. We are back on the road. We are out there filming. If you'd like to help us, we very much appreciate it. You can super chat. If you do, your name or your channel will be in the intro of either our next video or shouted out and featured on our next live stream. Or you can go to paypal.me/accountability for all. We appreciate all the help because we're out there full time now, hitting these guys hard. Secondly, please, if you're not, subscribe to the AFA Crew, my second channel. But I want to show you a video we did today, and we featured channel Press Harder. This guy's an absolute boss. I'm just going to show you the first 3 minutes for those who haven't seen it yet. All right, I'm going to share the screen. You guys enjoy. This is probably one of the best people in the field right now at shutting down shitbag cops. So let's take a look.
How are you doing?
You just exercise your rights to film?
Yeah.
Okay.
In my free speech.
Right. You can't be on this traffic stop here.
This isn't a traffic stop. It's an accident. Nobody's detained. And I'm sure as hell not detained. Is this closed?
Sir,
is this closed?
I don't want you.
Is this closed or not? I was never in between those vehicles.
This is right here. If you want to film.
This whole road's closed now?
No, the whole road's not closed. But
so I can walk through here.
This is his accident scene.
So I can walk through here?
You can walk off to the side over here, but
that's the only place I was. I never went in between those vehicles, and I never would. That's on the roadway.
Step over here for me.
You just said I can walk over there.
I'm having you step over.
Am I detained?
Yes.
For what?
Until I find out what's
going on. For what crime?
Here.
Now I'm detained until you find out? Have you bumped your fucking head?
Come over here.
For what?
Come over here.
What crime have I committed?
You're interfering with his investigation.
How am I interfering? You said I can walk through.
Because it's hard for me to talk.
It's hard for you to talk free speech? Oh, is free speech a problem? Have any of you seen a protest?
You're interfering with his investigation.
How so? By exercising free speech, you cannot convert my rights into a crime.
You're interjecting yourself into his
bullshit. I have a right to throw a protest on any public way, in any public forum.
This is a.
So what? He can do it. I'm not stopping him. How come these cars can walk by? How come everybody else can walk by?
You are interjecting yourself into his investigation.
I can say anything I want. I'm not making him come over here. I didn't make you come over here. You guys are over here on your own free will.
Because you.
It's not my fault. Because I made you. So now I'm in control of your actions.
Do you think it's inappropriate for me to be? You're good to go, man.
What's your name, Corporal?
You're interjecting yourself up here.
It's not interjecting. Stop trying to copsplain. Your ignorance of the law is no excuse, man. Right. I'm not responsible.
You're good to go, man.
Yeah, I'm good to go. What is your name?
Corporal Sergeant with Georgia State Patrol.
How do you spell that? I'm trying to read it. C-H-E. And what's your badge number? 696. 696. Well, you unlawfully detained me for no crime. You're a traitor. Yeah, I just wanted to have a nice conversation with an officer, but this fucking coward fuckstick wants to run and hide in his goddamn gang mobile and pat himself on the little butt, make radio calls, woodchuck to ground squirrel, come in. Oh, I got First Amendment here. I can't handle it. There's a fucking protest. I don't know what I'm going to do.
What's going on, guys? Today's awesome video comes from Press Harder. So, y'all at home, if you're wondering, what exactly is copsplaining? Well, it's very simple. It's when you've done nothing wrong. The police can't articulate that you have done absolutely anything wrong at all. However, they still want to have a conversation with you. They want to detain you, and then they want to come up with excuses for it after. So, if the police have no idea what's going on, you have your normal run-of-the-mill idiot, oath-breaking tyrant clown in a costume. He sees you filming and he tells you that you're detained. And then afterwards, he figures out you didn't do anything wrong. And he says, oh, you're free to go. I just detained you because the camera, this, that, the other thing. Copsplaining. Copsplaining is secondary only to annoyed cop charges, right? They will charge you with a crime faster than they can beat an unarmed citizen. And if you're keeping track, that's pretty damn fast. But copsplaining is one of the first things they do. And copsplaining is normally engaged when you're trying to get freedom of information. I went to the Saugus Police Department in Saugus, Massachusetts the other day, and I was with Police State Transparency. And as I was with him, he asked for the last 6 completed internal affairs reports. And this cop said, oh, yeah, that's fine. Well, we just need your identification so we can process it, know where to send it. And I said, I don't need to give you any information at all whatsoever. So how are we going to know where to send it? I said, I can come and pick it up. You have 10 days to produce my Freedom of Information Act. And absolutely 100%, he immediately seceded and admitted that I was right. And then he took down the information that we need. They are on notice, k.com, and they will have to provide that information within 10 days. But no matter what the context of the conversation they're having with you, they always want identification every single time. And they always want to copsplain to you after, because when have you ever seen a police officer walk up to you and say, hey, listen, throwing it out there, you don't have to ID to me. I have no probable cause or reasonable articulable suspicion to believe that a crime or felony or a misdemeanor has taken place, is currently taking place, or is in the commission and about to be taking place. That being said, you don't have to provide identification, but could I have it? Never, because the cop is hoping one of two things. You're ignorant like him, you don't know the law, so you won't think to question him, or number 2, he just doesn't give a shit. And if you call him on it, whatever. And then when you do call him on it, and then he comes back with, oh, I wasn't saying you had to give me ID, that's when copsplaining comes into play. Freedom of Information Act request. You guys can go to, I'm going to share the screen so you can see. Easiest place to get the information that you need. Oh, Brandon, thank you so much. Absolutely. Hashtag Team Shane. Guys, go ahead and put that, make sure in the videos, no matter what video I put, make sure you put hashtag Team Shane. We're trying to keep that trending. And it's been doing pretty well so far. Over 500 hits on Facebook alone. So guys, you go to foia.gov, right? That's foia.gov. And when you go to this website, let me drop that. All right. So when you go to the website here and you're navigating it, you have questions. You want to go to learn about Foia. Okay. Foia.gov. Frequently asked questions. Okay. And you want to scroll down. Okay. Now let's find the part where we want to go to. What do you have? What is FOIA? Who can make a FOIA request? Okay. Now let's watch this video, because these cops want to tell you what you can and can't do. And this is, so according to the United States, this is who can create a FOIA. And sometimes cops will actually use Work Lion. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Cops will come up with the excuse that they need your identification, or you need to be a citizen of the United States of America. Do you guys think that's right? Let's just ask the chat. Put a 1 if you think you need to be a citizen of the United States of America to request records or Freedom of Information Act. Put it 2 if you think you don't have to. So 1 for yes, you have to be a citizen. 2 for no, you don't. Hey, Emerald Isle. NC Tyrant Hunter. Bam! Subscribe to NC Tyrant Hunter. Country Trash says 2. You don't have to be a citizen. Well, you guys are absolutely right. You do not have to be a citizen of the United States. And that's excuses that I've actually had cops give me before. You have to provide ID because we have to make sure that you're a citizen to release these documents. Let's actually watch how the government reports who can make a FOIA request.
The general rule is that any person, citizen or not, can make a FOIA request. It's easy to do so. There's no specific form that must be used to make a request. The request simply must be in writing, must reasonably describe the information sought, and must comply with any specific agency requirements.
So let's stop right there. You do not actually need a form. It must only be in writing. Sometimes police will copsplain to you that you need a form. We're fresh out of them. I'm sorry we don't have any FOIA request forms. You're going to have to go on our website. Now, of course you can. You can go on the website and do a records request electronically. That's your prerogative. But you can simply take whatever you have in your pocket. I have a straw wrapper from Dunkin' Donuts. Okay? No bullshit. Okay? I just made a FOIA request. All cops fired this year. As soon as I hand that to someone in records or the police department, this has just become a FOIA request. They have 10 days to acknowledge your FOIA request. And in most places, regardless of where you're dealing with, the general rule of thumb is beyond 90 days, they can't deny you. There is some misinformation in this video from the government. Let's continue to watch.
Most federal agencies now accept FOIA requests electronically, including by web form, email, or fax. If you want records about yourself, you will be required to provide proof of your identity in order to protect your privacy. And
let's stop lady cakes real quick. This is all public record, right? So you do not need to provide identification to get records about yourself. So I don't need identification if I want to get records about, for example, my friend NC Tyrant Hunter. I can get all of his personal information and I don't need to show any identification. But when I want to access my own information, then I need to provide identification. I think it's more important, like if privacy is in public, which it's not, that we protect other people's privacy, not our own. So they're actually wrong on that. But everything else is pretty accurate.
and to ensure that private information about you is not disclosed to someone else.
Oh, Hillsborough Cop Watch. Thank you so much. Yeah, your stuff has been great. Everyone subscribe to Hillsborough Cop Watch, and let's get NC Tyrant Hunter to 100K. Now, there's more important, useful information. Who can make a FOIA request? How do you make a FOIA request? Let's just take a look at that because I want to point out some glaring inconsistencies with what you can and cannot do.
To get information under the FOIA, typically you must make a FOIA request. Now, this is a written request in which you describe the information you want and the format you want it in as much detail as possible. You should be aware that the FOIA does not require agencies to do research for you, to analyze data or answer written questions, or to create records in response to your request. Finally, you should know that the FOIA requires that federal agencies release certain information automatically without the need for you to make a request. So before you send in that FOIA request, it's a good idea to look at agency websites first and see what's already available online.
Guys, I really do implore everyone to check out this website. There is some useful information on it. especially if you're just like at home and you want to figure out what you can and can't do. But let's talk about fees. Now, I have friends that are involved in this that talk about, and I know for a fact, for example, they've been charged $3,000 to get access to records, body cam, etc., what have you. Do you need to pay that? Is it egregious? In the sense, it's constitutionally prohibiting, because every citizen has the right to request these records, right? So, for example, you have the right to a nominal and affordable bail, right, under the Constitution. So if you're arrested for something and you only make $10,000 a year, they can't charge you $50 million. They might as well give you no bail because it's not attainable to you under the law. It is similar in the sense that if something is beyond your means, then you're calling it publicly accessible when it financially is you're incapable. So let's take a look at this part for a second. Big Man Audits. What's up, Big Man? Have a great day, NC Tyrant Hunter, and thank you for joining us.
There's no charge to submit a FOIA request, but in certain instances, full FOIA processing may require a modest charge. Although there's usually no charge for the first 2 hours of search time and the first 100 pages of duplication, agencies do typically charge for the time it takes to search for records or for duplication of those records after this initial allotment runs out. If you are seeking records for commercial use, you will be charged additional fees. Now, that said, you may always include in your request letter a statement limiting the amount that you are willing to pay in fees, or you may request a waiver of fees. Generally, fee waivers are limited to situations in which you can show that the disclosure of the information is in the public interest. That means it's likely to contribute significantly to public understanding of the operations and activities of the government.
So I want to talk about that real quick. What is totally unacceptable to me is that they're talking about, well, for the first couple hours, it's free. It's of no cost. But after that, .com, thank you so much. Thank you, AFA, on need-to-know basis listening, learning as well, add another few extra. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Glad you're doing well as well. Thank you so much. So keep in mind, your public employees are already working for you. So we're paying them double. These employees certainly aren't reaping the benefits. So the employee who is going to be working anyways is now going to be working the same as they already were to provide publicly accessible records to the citizens under federal law, however they want to charge you for it. Now, free commerce no longer exists, because if you own and operate your own business and try to give back to your community and financially better yourself and those around you, you will be charged an extra fee. However, notice what she said at the end. What's up, Blind Justice? Come on up if you like. Notice what she said at the end. If this is something that's necessary for public knowledge, regurgitation, and consumption, then the fees should be waived. Everything that we do is available for knowledge and consumption if it is attainable and accessible to the public. Okay? Hold on a second, guys. I'm trying to do something here. But it doesn't want to let me. Hold on. I'm trying to pin the message. Nick the Ice Pick was assaulted and arrested. Yeah, he was. He absolutely was. Gypsy, give me 1 second. I'm just trying to pin that link, and then I'll bring you right up, bro. There we go. That should be up there. Blind Justice, welcome to come up. We have Gypsy backstage.
Yes,
What's
brother,
up?
you good?
Hello?
You hear me, brother?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. How are you?
Excellent. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good, man. Obviously, for these time zones. It's midnight here. But
oh my gosh, yeah, that's right. Late for you. Are you getting ready to go to sleep?
You know what it is? I got work in the morning, but I've slept quite a lot today, so I'm all right for now. But yeah, keep up the good work, man.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. And you guys are you're over across the pond. Everyone, if you haven't already, subscribe to Gypsy Auditor UK. He's doing a killer job. Now, you've obviously watched a lot of US videos, and I've watched a lot of UK videos. But not being in your shoes, the same copsplaining that we have here in the States, do you see that when you're auditing?
I see it at I do a lot of prisons as well.
Okay.
And they're crazy. Like, you guys have it harder though, for sure. But what put me in depth what you mean copsplaining. Like, what do you guys phrase that as?
So when we talk about copsplaining, for example, I'm a cop and Great Lakes is driving down the road and he gets out of the car and I walk up to him and I say, hey, you fit a description and you look suspicious the way you're standing there, so don't you go anywhere, you're detained. And then he says to me, well, you don't have any reason to detain me. If I'm free to go, I'm free to stay, beat it. And then I make up an excuse like, well, I was just trying to protect the public.
Oh, that happens.
With bullshit excuses when they try and convert your rights.
In this day and age, they do that crap all the time. In this day and age, the current political climate, and
right.
you know what's happening
the current climate.
Society, all that bullshit they throw at you to try to make it seem to justify what they're doing. It's bad. It's so bad over here. Yeah,
the same here though.
Conversion plan is what it is. It's the conversion plan. They want to convert your rights into privileges and the Constitution into a crime. Yeah. That's what they're trying to do.
You see, my community, yeah, because I'm from the Gypsy community here in the UK, so we get it anyway. I'm sure a lot of my community don't help itself, but the police are corrupt in England, especially in London, and they tarnish certain people with a brush, and it's all about holding them accountable and standing up for our rights and not letting them abuse their powers, which they do often. And if they do, keep it on camera.
We're having trouble hearing you, Gypsy. I think you lost your mic, bud.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Oh, there you are. Yes, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying it's all about holding them accountable. From my community, the Gypsy community here in the UK, we get it anyway. You know, our community doesn't get the best stuff with the police anyway. But it's all about holding them accountable and filming them, you know?
Absolutely. Blind Justice, what's up, brother? Can you hear me, bud? Blind Justice, you there? We can't hear you if you're talking, bud. Give him a sec, see if we can get his mic figured out. I actually texted Blind Justice, asked him to come up because when we want to talk about tyranny, copsplaining, what your rights are under the law, Blind Justice in totality is a legal beagle and a master at his craft. And he's always been really very, very good at pointing out the exact moments when cops go from, you know, regular being a police officer to trying to copsplain and to limit your rights. So hopefully he's able to get some service and come back up.
I have issues with that. Big up you. Sorry, bro. You know, USA guys, you really are smashing it. And I feel we are following your lead in a sense in the UK. So keep up the good work, guys. Yeah. I'm going to have to go to bed because I got work. Take care. Yeah.
Have a great night, Gypsy.
I got a quick question for you, Gypsy, before you go.
Oh,
go on, brother. Go on, brother.
Are you familiar with Aaron Lambo?
Yeah. I don't know him, but I do watch his stuff. I don't know him personally, but I do watch his stuff. Yeah.
That's what got my eyes open to what's going on in the UK.
Yeah, you should watch my stuff. It's crazy.
He and Yeah, I actually subbed you about a week and a
Oh,
half
thank you, brother.
ago, um, and I'm seeing a lot of similarities between what happens to him and what happens to you, with just the
Yeah,
treatment level. Like right off the top, it's a certain level because they recognize you. You know, AFA gets the same thing
yeah,
where he's at. Um, I get the same thing where I'm at because they recognize you. Once
yeah. That's the problem. I've been in prison and stuff, and it doesn't help.
you're out there in space, so they're going to try all the same Copsplaining
Yeah, bullying
BS that he's
tactics.
talking about. And Aaron Lambo's videos, the last 3 years now, it all shows the same exact pattern. And he
It's not
tells
changing,
you
is
what's
it?
going to happen, and that just shows that the UK cop, yeah, it's that stigma that, you know, the gypsy stigma. There's a stigma of it
Yeah,
over here too. There's, you know, about gypsies. Yeah, exactly. That's fucked either way.
we can change it though.
I
We can
appreciate what
change
you do,
it.
Gypsy man. You have a good night.
I'll stay
No,
for.
not yet.
I just want to say this last to all you great guys that are doing great work. We can change this if we unite, even though we're in different countries. We highlight this corruption, stick together, and we can change things, you know? And that's all I think we can do. Try our best.
Absolutely. I
But
agree.
God bless you all anyway. Take care, guys, yeah?
Have a good night, brother. Be safe out there.
Thank you for letting me on, and catch you up all soon, yeah? Take
My
care.
pleasure. See you, man. Blind Justice, what's up, bud?
Hey, what's going on, guys? You hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you hear us?
Much
Yeah, I
better.
got you.
So, did you see any of what the government, any of the videos that they posted in relation to FOIA requests?
No. What's going on with that?
So we were just playing a couple of videos. They get it right on a good amount of things, that there doesn't necessarily have to be a form. A FOIA request can be submitted in writing on anything and presented. They try and say that you do need to have an ID to FOIA requests, which we know that is wrong. But one of the things I thought was interesting about the FOIA, the gateway to FOIA, is that they talk about after a certain number of hours, for example, 2 hours, you have to pay for that. So then we're limiting who, depending on their financial class, thanks, Jason, who, depending on their financial class, can have access to FOIA. That's like saying who on someone's financial class, like we're allowed to have attainable bail. So now we're limiting people's ability to gain access to FOIA. So I don't understand. These government workers were already going to be working. So now we're going to have them do something they were already going to do, but we're going to charge the citizens that pay taxes for the documents that we already have a right to. That makes no sense to me. How does that work?
Yeah, it varies state to state too. Some of them have it actually built into their public records statutes, and some of them get pretty hefty. Like I know if you've watched any of Justin Polium's work, he's shelled out, I don't know, probably thousands over his journalism career, just getting public, quote unquote, public records, right? They're not really public. It's like I put in the chat before hopping on the panel. It's not really a FOIA. It's more like a PWOIA. It's a paywall of Information Act. You know, it's not it's not free. Like, and I think to respectfully disagree with the gentleman that just left. I don't think we can change it. Like, I don't think we're gonna change anything. And I don't want to be like a Debbie Downer on the stream, but like the amount of change that we can affect is going to be small. It's going to be local, and that's typically going to revert back to a regime that's going to do the same stuff 20 years, like, or usually less. Usually, you know, 1 or 2 regime changes of people that are in office. If you actually do like they did in Leon Valley, like, and they like cleaned house and got a bunch of people off the council and got a bunch of new people in there, and they're already having the same kind of problems with them even blocking public records and things like that. So it's pretty nutty. Like the nature of the beast is for them to steal money. They call it taxation. They steal money from the people. They use the money however they want, and they pretend like the people have a say via quote unquote representation, when do you try to actually talk to one of your representatives and say, hey, I don't want you to spend money this way. Hey, I don't want good luck.
I agree with you that ultimately, because I think that people's questions might be after you just said, well, I don't think we're going to make any large scale changes here. So what is the end goal of what we're doing?
Well, it's a dumpster fire. It's a dumpster fire, right? But go ahead.
No, I think that what we're doing is we're just trying to keep them in check as much as we can. At this point, activism is tyrannical damage control where we're at, because I think the populace just doesn't have it in them. We are not the 1775 population that was willing to lose everything because we've lost everything to fight for what we want and then take it back. I mean, look at what happened after George Floyd. The nation erupted and the people had the ability to take back control of this country, and they were appeased and scared by COVID, and they sacrificed their essential liberties for temporary security. So what, Blind Justice, is the point of what we're doing if the end goal is not total change?
Yeah, no, for me, and I've had a conversation or two with James Freeman, and you can hear it on his videos as well. It's not that, I think even in his live video today, it's not that we're going to actually change anything. If we do, it's going to be small. It's going to be short term. It's going to be them doing damage control from the lawsuits that we fire off in retaliation to try to get some kind of semblance of justice. It's never going to be justice, right? There's no amount that you can be paid that's going to make the trauma that you experienced, or losing a loved one, or being abused, make that go away, right? So justice is not on the table for us, because they're not interested in justice. That's like a pipe dream. But they are losing control. They are losing their grip on the people because of the information age that we're in, and it's only going to speed up. And that's why you have this tumultuous time we're in, where they're just like, they're going ape shit, right? They're being more militarized. They're getting literally military gear from the Department of Defense, and not just gear, but technology, such as things that used to be just used in the covert ops section of the military for monitoring telecommunications when you're in a war zone. Now they issue those things out to police departments, and they use them in cities to monitor people's phone calls without warrants. So they're becoming more and more desperate in their death rattle, if so to speak. But you can look at it in a pessimistic view. You can look at it in an optimistic view. I kind of look at it in an optimistic view. Like, it's kind of like labor pains. We're as a species, as a planet, we're going through this time in history of labor pains. It's tumultuous, it's painful. There's going to be a lot of struggle in the near term, but eventually we're coming into this golden age, another renaissance, so to speak, because of the explosive, disruptive nature of technology that people have. Like in the third world country, they're leaping past industrial revolutions, right? They're leaping past the first and second industrial revolution straight to the third and beyond. People, and I've seen it firsthand when I was in the military. They have no clean running water. They have no electricity in their village, but they have cell phones and they're on Twitter. And and they charge that by one motorbike that one guy has, that they hook up some cables off to this guy's motor and charge their phones off of it. It's fucking and crazy, and that's what we're dealing with. Like, humanity is getting past the quote unquote need or for government. Like, people are realizing, like, this thing is a cancer, on a plague on humanity, and those that are in government, they're like these dinosaurs. They're dying out. They had their time. Their time to dominate and control the world is over. And just like the dinosaurs of the past, like, we use their bones for fuel, like we have for a long time. And these new dinosaurs, as they're going extinct, that's what humanity is going to use as fuel to push us into the future.
You got a lot of wind, Booker, on your end, buddy.
A lot of wind? Yeah, I'm outside. I do apologize.
That's all right.
I just wanted to say hi to Blind Justice. I've been watching him for a very long time, and I've seen a lot of unjust things happen to that man. But I do appreciate you, sir.
Hey,
how you doing, man?
Hey, living it, taking it one day at a time, man.
I'm glad for your service. I appreciate everything you've done for this country, brother. Keep it up, man.
Well, and I mean that to that point, you know, my military service was not in service to the people of the United States. If you want to say to the country, like if the country is the government, like because the people of countries do not go to war with each other. It's governments go to war with each other. And so I served the government, i.e. the politicians and the bankers, you know, that were bankrolling the war. And I didn't really serve the people of the United States. My actions didn't make you guys any more free. If anything, it made you less free because the politicians used my actions in war to justify the Patriot Act, to justify stripping away more freedoms. You know, it's the concept that the CIA coined as blowback. You know, we created so many victims through traumatizing other people around the world that now they dislike people from the United States because we invaded and destroyed their homeland and did all kinds of this, and we're still doing it. Like I don't want to say we anymore because I'm not doing it anymore, but the United States government is still doing that.
Well, so how would you say, yeah, as a nation, I don't think we have the same drive. Like, I think if our phones died, we wouldn't go find that one guy that's got a motorbike and try and figure out a way to fix our shit. I don't think we're industrious as we used to be. I don't think we have that drive. Blind Justice, how much of the problems we're facing now are our own doing from sitting back
yeah,
and
for sure. And to bring the conversations full circle to the FOIA, it's absolutely, we have a shared responsibility in the situation we're in. You know, our parents and their parents kind of fell asleep at the wheel and keeping government in check. And that goes all the way back to the inception of the US, right? The founding fathers, like Jefferson, talked about refreshing the tree of liberty with blood, right?
The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants.
Right. So, but they understood that. They understood that was a generational. They said every generation there needs to be a revolution. Essentially, every generation people need to.
Yeah, he said that there should be
He
said there should be an uprising every 20 years, so that way the people maintain their spirit of resistance. It took a lot longer than 20 years.
Right. So we fell asleep at the wheel, and a big part of that is because of the prosperity that the people in this landmass, you know, has experienced due to innovation, due to the industrial revolutions that a lot of them sparked and grew from here. But then the manipulators, the controllers, dominated that, and they still dominate that. They still restrict innovation. They still regulate innovation. They still will buy off new technology like clean energy, renewable energy, like clean cars and things like that, and they'll buy off these patents from people and then shelve them. They'll never actually use them because then it disrupts their business. It disrupts the energy and the transportation business. You know, all the big money, the business of war, all these things will be disrupted. But they can't keep that genie in the bottle. Like, it's bursting out, and that's what I'm saying. Like, it's going to completely disrupt their power structure, and they're freaking out, and that's what we're dealing with. So it's everybody's responsibility because we've just been pacified with all the newest thing, you know, the newest phone that comes out, the newest whatever, and the new shiny thing. And so that goes all the way back to the Romans. You know, the Roman emperor, I forget the name, but it's like, how do you keep the people from uprising? You just give them bread and circus. You give them enough bread so they're not starving, and then you give them the circus. You give them the game so that they have something to be entertained. And that's, you know, most people are just, they work their 9 to 5, they do their little rat race job, their slave job for enough beans to feed their family, and then they get entertained, right?
So let me ask you a question. Have we, I guess, as a populace, sacrificed our liberty in exchange for security? And if liberty in exchange for security is the genie, can we put it back in the bottle?
No, it wasn't ever an exchange, and because we don't have security, we really don't have security. We have the illusion of security. TSA is nothing but fucking bad acting, right? They don't provide any security. The police don't provide any security. There's court cases where the judges have upheld, like, no, they don't have a duty to protect you. They don't have a duty to protect the children, right? That shooting in Florida, where that resource officer ran and hid it in his patrol car and
When
called
the
in
school
backup.
got shot up. That's right. He
Yeah.
ran and hid.
Yeah. And there's an outrage, and so the parents try to take him to court, and the judge is like, no, man, he doesn't have a duty to protect your kids. It's like, okay, wake up, people. Like, this is an illusion of security that we have, right? We never made that exchange. But going
The
back
first
to
time
the
that was
founding
ruled on,
fathers,
if I remember correctly, 1974, right? When the Supreme Court ruled that law enforcement doesn't have a duty to protect, was around 74, if I remember correctly.
Well, then
I'm not
off
sure.
the goddamn cruiser. I want to just see till they're not there to serve either, but they're definitely not there to protect. So just say
Right.
service.
But so going back to like FOIA, right? It's an act. It's a federal law, right? And just like the Americans with Disabilities Act is one I deal with a lot. It's a federal law, but it doesn't have any teeth. Neither does FOIA. It doesn't really have any teeth. And not that we need more laws, right? But the point that James Madison made when they were writing the Constitution, he said this is nothing more than a parchment barrier. It's a piece of paper.
Right.
It's not. You can't defend yourself with a piece of paper. Go ahead and try to build a barrier, build a wall with paper. Like, it's not going to protect shit. Like, you have to actually protect it yourself. The concepts, the ideals that you believe in, that you're writing down on the piece of paper, it's on us. It's on the people to actually say, hey, you know what? We need to defend this. And as far as an armed revolution, if the history books say that every armed revolution in history, within 20 years of an armed revolution, has reverted to a worse regime than what they overthrew. And so I don't think an armed revolution is the way. I think, and then we don't need a revolution as far as a physical conflict. We need an evolution of thought, and that's happening. The people are waking up because of the information age, because of platforms like this and other platforms where you can share live streaming what's going on, live stream the abuse of these animals that are out there just going off unhinged on people because they're used to getting away with it. You can't get away with it anymore. Back when you couldn't live stream, when people had more access to cameras and film wasn't insane, we had digital cameras, right? People were recording a little bit more and more, but it's still, they didn't have a platform to share it. Now we have live streaming capability, and it's a complete game changer. And
so how do we use that to formulate a new resistance? I mean, obviously, our uphill battle against tyranny now is much different in a sense of technology that they faced when gaining independence in this country. So what is the best formulated attack by using our streaming capabilities, by using our ability to connect to a global community?
Well, I mean, I think for personal defense, I think it's great. Like, anybody can stream to a Facebook account or a Twitch account or whatever. Like, I don't know what the requirements are for streaming live to YouTube anymore, but anybody can set up something where they can stream live.
50 subscribers now, just 50.
Okay, there are different apps out there that you can get in. And I think it's Brian from High Impact, or he also, one of his channels is Here's the Deal. He has an app where it's kind of like a musket. What is it called? Minuteman. I think that's the name of the app, is Minuteman, something like that. But there's several of these apps that are out there that you can get. And if you're being harassed by the cops, or if you see cherries and berries, you can note it. And anybody in the area that wants to respond and be that local militia, to this armed presence, can show up and record. They could show up with and live stream, like, this is where they are, and put them on blast. And so basically we just give them no place to hide. We exposed all the corruption, and people will see it. And once enough people see it, they wake up and say, yeah, we're just going to opt out of this completely, and it will dissolve. Like, we can starve it to death.
What's interesting is, like, they're just starting to do it now on Google Maps, but Waze, I really used to enjoy that app before I even ever got involved in activism, because you not only could just mark if there was an accident, but you could specifically mark when you pass a cop, if he's hidden, if he's in plain view, and then people will start commenting. So this isn't something new. It's just we're really starting to put it into context for people to understand. This technology has been available for a long time. I think people are afraid to take the step.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I'm pushing 40, and just in my lifetime, there's been a massive change in so many ways. Like, the world is different, and we don't realize how much it's changing and how rapidly it's changing. And the people, like the new generation, the kids, I have kids, and they're growing up with, the internet is just if you don't have Wi-Fi, if you don't have service, it's like, what's going on, you know? So that it's a completely different landscape. The world has changed. The idea that we need to have government is an old, outdated, antiquated, you know, system, and it needs to go. It's going to go. They see the writing on the wall. Some people see the writing on the wall. Some of the people have woken up and said, yeah, no, we don't want this anymore. Just look at the statistics of people who engage in elections, and it's by far not anything close to a majority, right? But they still want to have the audacity to claim the majority of the people voted for this person to lead us or this bill to pass. And like, well, that's just ludicrous. You don't even have the majority of the people that took part in the vote. The majority of people opted out because they don't believe in your authority, because they said, you know what, I'd rather just live my life and ignore you assholes.
Well, have you heard of the Police Bill of Rights in Missouri yet?
Oh yeah.
So,
I think you read it last time I was on your stream.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So the last day of legislation is when people normally get together in the political circles to try and push shit through that wouldn't normally get through. It's 868 pages, and it's a budget reform, is what it really is. It talks about corrections funds. It talks about fencing, public stuff like that. And there's one part that talks about pesticide safety and certification. Now, pesticide safety and certification happens to be the longest part of this bill, consisting of over 100 pages. That's because in pesticide safety and certification is the Police Bill of Rights, where you cannot film a police officer without his permission. You cannot call him names, and you can also not commit him. You cannot accuse him of engaging in any unlawful activity or even saying that he violated your rights unless he was charged with the crime. And if he was charged with the crime, you have to notify that police officer in that station within 24 hours before you talk about publicizing it. And even law professors from Omaha were saying that gives cops time to get their stories correct. You know what I mean? Like if you make a complaint against them, they're limiting our ability to redress our grievances. What I find concerning is that anything that abridges the Constitution is unconstitutional. So if your First Amendment right is to redress your grievances, how can they possibly limit that?
Yeah, it's nuts. I think it's on the nose. It's kind of some irony. You know, sometimes they play these things just out in the open with a big fuck you to the people. Like that, the fact that it's in the pesticide section, you know, they're the biggest parasites on the planet, you know, like.
What's up, Beast?
How's it going? Been
How are you, man?
checking you out. I'm doing well. Checking you out. You guys all have, you know, really good perspectives and ideas. I just been wanting to install into the auditing community a different perspective because I've been following auditors for years. They actually saved my ass one time when the cops tried to hem me up. I was sleeping in my car, but I was in the passenger seat. You know, I knew how to press the issue. And like San Joaquin audits, shout out, you know. So I've been watching audits for years. So everything you guys saying, I agree with. But the one thing that nobody is talking about in this system to change is economics. That's the one thing. You guys got all the legals, the laws, the procedures. You guys are all really good at that. But it's the economics that's the thing nobody touches up on. And that's what runs everything. Because you know how you guys have always heard everything's about the money, right? But it's not until you realize where the money comes from and how everyone from the top, then you realize this whole system cannot be voted or changed like doing the way it's set up. We need nothing less, and I've said this a lot in chat, nothing less than revolution. And I'm not advocating for everyone to go out on the streets and shooting guns. There's a different way to revolt. And that's what I say economics, the US dollar, you know, everyone should know by now that anytime, this is how our money works. Anytime Congress wants money, they don't need your tax dollars. Cops aren't paid with tax dollars. It kills me every time I hear that. What they do is they go to the Federal Reserve, and the Fed will always write a check to the government anytime they want. And anytime our government gets money from the Federal Reserve, us, the people, we owe taxes on it, okay? Now, I'm telling you, it all makes sense. It all comes down to the police level. So we pay taxes on money that the Federal Reserve gets to print. So they just fresh off the printers where our government gets the money all the time. They don't get your tax. They don't use your taxes at all. with the amount of money they get from the Federal Reserve. I think in '08 they printed up some $1 trillion and added it to money. So what I'm saying, what controls everything from the top is money. So if instead of Black Lives Matter, instead of us going out on the street and protesting, if we organized a general strike and like a boycott against the actual government and the US dollar, then we would take away the power that they have, because you guys are trying to lobby people that have a money printer. There's no way we're going to go up against, like the court system and all that. They will bury us every time because the police don't care, because the money doesn't even come. It all comes from a money printer. So every day we go to work and continue to allow this system to rule over us is every day we continue this system of wage slavery. So when you guys talk about all these lawsuits and stuff, the biggest lawsuit a whole city could do was to go on strike, to just go on strike. We're talking rent strike, general work strike, and you'll see a collapse of power like you've never before seen. I tell people all the time. I'm sorry I'm ranting on, but excited to be on the show.
You bring up an excellent point. You really do, because
Sure does.
in any situation or aspect of life, the best place to hit somebody is in the pocket. You vote with your feet, right? And in a situation like this, people might say, "Oh, if you go on a global strike, we're going to destroy our economy." We're devaluing our own economy every time we print new bills. We have owed money to Japan in the excess of trillions of dollars since the end of World War II, and we haven't even made a dent in paying it. In fact, every time that debt comes due, since we're their largest ally, we simply ask for a request. It gets put over and extended another 10 years. And of course the interest goes on that. And there's so many different aspects of our dollar being devalued. I mean, at least I would rather go on strike and take the money away than just print up new bills to print new problems. Let's look at us as a people in total. If you were at a restaurant and they said the bill is $50 and you have 45, I'm pretty sure they're not going to let you grab 5 napkins, write US dollar on it, and allow that to pass. Unfortunately, that's how our government does. What the government does for themselves, they do not do for us.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have been talking about economics. But I don't know who the speaker was that said that we haven't, but we have been. If you've been paying attention, you can pick it up. Like I mentioned that the wars that I took part in weren't anything to do about freedom. It was because politicians wanted money because they were backed by bankers, right? And I'm not the only one that's talking about it. Like you can go to Adam Kokash's channel, Adam versus the Man. You can go to Rogue Nation. He talks about it periodically. A lot of people talk about it, and that we don't have a system of money. Like what you guys are talking about, we don't have money. We have fiat currency. Yep. And that thing is about to pop. We're probably within 5 years, the US dollar is about to go boom and bye-bye. Right? And they're trying to
probably almost there now.
They're trying to position themselves into a digital currency and making that the new fiat currency. And it's still not gonna, the system is collapsing. The system is collapsing. Yeah, the future is decentralization, and it's not just decentralization of actual currency and actual money, but it's decentralization of power, of power. It's decentralization of everything, and we have the power now, the capability, because of technology, to make these things a reality in our lifetimes. Like, and in the next few decades, it's just going to be drastically different. And so we don't have to play any boycott of their stupid fiat currency because it's going to go bye-bye anyway. I recommend hedging whatever currency you can into something that's going to last, and that's going to be something that's decentralized. If you want to go into emerging markets or into foreign fiat currency to last a few more years before they go boom, you can do that, or you can do precious metals or things like that. Something that actually will hold its value over time. Not this fiat system. It's every fiat system in the history of the world has blown up and gone bye-bye.
Yep.
So we trying to boycott the system. Yes, you want to vote with your feet, be conscientious, on what you do, but it's I don't think you're going to may have a major disruption that way. We're not going to shake it up. They don't care. They're
going action any of this.
Question for you guys. In your local courts, do they offer community service if you're low on funds or not able to pay for your court costs and fines.
Yes. I mean, in my area, that they do offer that as a substitute for payment. But my issue with court is that someone can commit a heinous, egregious crime. They can go free if they pay certain amounts of money. Like people refer to the courts as the justice system. It really is just one of the biggest big businesses that we have in this country.
A revolving door.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is.
Josh, thanks for having me. I'm gonna go. I don't have much time today, but thanks for having me on, man.
Blind Justice, thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on, brother.
Hey, Blind Justice, it was
All right,
nice
Blind
talking
Justice.
to you, man.
Peace, guys.
And I bring that up because a few years ago I had got pulled over, whatever, and couldn't pay the court costs. I'm like, is there anything else I can do? Can I do communities? Is there community service? They don't tell you about that. I think if we let people know, like, hey, instead of paying that court cost, take a day off, help the community out, whatever. In the long run, if you get enough people to do it, it really does hurt the pockets of the county.
Yeah, but I think that the large scale issue we're dealing with here is, and everyone please subscribe to Blind Justice. Thank him for coming up. When we look at this issue, we as a people need to do a massive script flip. And that's why I've been featuring a lot of script flip incidences in my more recent videos. We need to do unto the government as the government does unto us. We do have the ability, because there are always more inmates than there are employees inside the asylum. But we never want to take the stand to stand up because we're very comfortable in our persons, our papers, and our effects. We have low financing rates on our credit cards. We have new Honda minivans that have the latest safety designs. We have all these great things. The one thing about us as a people during the revolution and pre-revolution is that we had nothing to lose. Okay, so
Yeah,
say the same thing. We have nothing to lose. We have everything to lose. That's how the script has been flipped on us, where we're just, now we don't care. Even if we have nothing less, we don't want to lose that little sliver rather than stand up and do something to affect change. And like Beast said, vote with your feet. Hit them in the pocket. That is the only way the government will respond, because the only thing that keeps that government going is money. Exactly. And government needs to be more limited.
Josh, can we class action any of this?
I mean, what we can do, will do, and what will actually work or be slightly effective or taken seriously are three totally different things. We don't technically need to drive under the Constitution with licenses. We technically, under the Second Amendment, are not specified to carry permits, but still in states that require us to carry permits, we will get the proper permitting to carry our firearms. What we are able to do and what we do when we get detained, we can charge up to $200,000 for 20 minutes of illegal detainment. If they do have probable cause, we can petition the courts and we can file lawsuits to legislature to get that money back for our lost time under tyranny. Will the court take that seriously? Absolutely not. Will that ever happen? Absolutely not. Can we try? But that's partially because we allowed the government to get away from us, right? We just
I want to take back some kind of power here.
The way the government has been getting over on us is by systematically, relentlessly dividing us. And I tell people, money unites the rich, it divides the poor. Everyone looks at everyone like competition, and you're a threat to my well-being because we're all starving for money. I tell people, if you were fed garbage your whole life, and somebody asked you, you would have your favorite garbage that you liked. You would have the garbage you didn't like. So that's what we got to understand is we've been eating garbage our whole life. And that garbage has been watching the rich people rule over us like peasants, as the government will kick us out on the street because we don't have money, take our kids away, and pay another family to raise them. The best way to describe police is they are here to keep poor people in poverty and protect capital. That's it.
Well, I mean, you can actually look at when you.
I want to change that.
Roosevelt's administration. Everyone wants to talk about Roosevelt and the great job that he did.
He was a
The
bad
guy
person.
actually trashed our economy. He
But
diluted.
he wasn't.
He diluted the government so much. I mean, when you talk about limiting government, the only reason it is exacerbated as it is, firstly, is because of him, and secondly, he designed poor neighborhoods to stay poor. That's why even till today, you won't have the same access to certain school districts as some other communities might have. But that kind of goes to the saying that to a hammer, every problem is a fucking nail. We need to
Yep.
isolate the issues that we're dealing with today and take them apart piece by piece. If everyone on the internet right now went live on YouTube or Facebook, every single person, and we all talked about the same thing, then that's going to gain some traction. Even mainstream media is going to be forced to observe it because the people have taken back power. Just like in Minneapolis, when the city was burning, for the first time since the revolution, all government, like the only thing the government does in times of riots, protesting on a large scale, is they protect infrastructure. This is a fact.
Yep.
That's why you will
Yep.
see government military in mass. They're not protecting your stores. They're not protecting your homes. They're not protecting your people. They're protecting
Government property.
Their
Just
only
like
job is
here
to
in
protect
Ida,
infrastructure.
the cops
And
are running around like a polluter.
during the time of
No, you're not.
Minneapolis, they abandoned all infrastructure. And why was that the case? Because they knew that they couldn't overturn everyone, because we as a total populace came together. And something actually happened. I thought it was an interesting story. A guy walks in Minneapolis, he walks into City Hall because the building was abandoned. He sat down at the front at the desk of the mayor's office or whatever, what have you. And he sits down and he writes on a piece of paper that he secedes. And it is now the free state of Minneapolis. Now, now this goes back to what you were saying, Booker, like, can we do it and what will they take seriously? That sounds absolutely silly that guy seceded. But for about an hour and a half, he was the leader of the free state of Minneapolis. I mean, it only takes one person to stand up and say,
Yep.
we're going to affect some fucking change. Will there be long-lasting effects? It doesn't look like it because people aren't willing to get off their ass.
See, the reason why I said class action, because it draws like more of us together, and it makes the lawsuit that much bigger, and it also puts a lot of stink on everything that's going on, because it'll be twice as hard. Like, but then I keep hearing something about some law that was passed if the state offers you some money, but like, wait, like, so you can't put in a class action? Like, I don't know. Like, what?
Of course, you can sue any time for anything. But let me ask you a quick question, Booker. When you go to make a complaint against a police officer, who do you give the complaint to?
His buddy. Sorry.
I don't give the complaint to the officer.
No, but what I'm saying is,
I try to go to a federal building and do it that way.
okay, but what I'm saying, who investigates a complaint against a police officer? The police, right?
Yeah, themselves.
Right,
Yeah, the police
exactly.
police themselves.
So you're filing a class action civil suit against the government, against the court system that's going to hear itself. I mean, not for nothing, if someone petitions me to hear if I'm an asshole or not, I'm an asshole 100%, but I'm going to find myself innocent. If I'm investigating myself, why not? Who's to hold me accountable? That's the problem with such a diluted fucking government, is there's always someone else to speak to, but no one does any fucking work. There's no oversight. So these people have no cause to be afraid of any redressed issues, right? If we start limiting the government and taking control of it, then we can start getting rid of these class divisions.
Yes, class divisions. Can I articulate? Was anyone? I wanted to say, so we were talking in the chat how people are comfortable, right? Like we were saying earlier, people are just too comfortable. So the way we kind of coax everyone out of that comfortability, again, back to the money, is exposing. So Blind Justice was saying, oh, we may not. And I just disagree a little, no big deal. So all these people that are just like comfortable in their offices and like have these aspirations to retire and all this, just work until they die, that, aren't trying to fight the system. Like, we have to show them that this system is a scam. And basically, you can break everyone out of the bubble if we start to, as the working class, and I say that a lot, the working class, vocalize that we are starting to dump the dollar. And what would happen is, you'll see it will just put people in an impossible position to ignore it. Because right now, it's the perfect time, because inflation is the biggest enemy of people's faith in the dollar. And right now, people don't understand that the inflation is not coming from Ukraine or the supply. All the shit you guys see on the news is false.
No, these people are doing it themselves.
Yeah, inflation comes from the Federal Reserve printing up money and adding it to the money supply. That's the only place inflation comes from. That's why back in the day, hamburgers used to be 15 cents. Now they're $15, because every year since then, the Fed has printed up money and money printed up. And so you guys yes, sir?
Excuse me. You said something I wanted to touch on real quick, and this might be a tough topic for people to talk about. Now, I do not support what's happening in the Ukraine. I think that is an excellent example.
I don't either.
Of tyranny. Okay, but what I will say is everyone's looking at their gas prices. They're looking at the price of food rising. They're looking at higher wage and restaurant costs and living costs and all that shit. And they're saying this is Russia's fault.
They're blaming it on Russia, but
we have the ability to place fucking embargoes. How much of our crude oil do you think comes from the fucking Ukraine? Okay, not for nothing, but to be crude, our prices are rising because the U.S. is dick riding a global crisis, which is normally what happens. I do have a quick question for the chat. What would you say if Donald Trump nominated Accountability for All to be president? What would you say, Booker?
If Donald Trump had nominated you?
Yes, to be president.
Hey, all I gotta say, man, watching you, brother, and everything that you've been doing so far up to now, without Donald Trump's nomination, if you were to run for president, you got my vote.
Well, let's show the clips. Watch this, guys. Donald Trump has endorsed me. Go to Keebler, No Sugarcoating Truth. Let's watch.
Let's do it.
I think that accountability for all can make America great again. And if he stops spending all the time on his smartphone, he can even become the next president of the United States. I think that accountability for all can make America great again.
Thanks, Don.
Private voicemail message, huh?
Nice.
We appreciate you, Don. And we got the cleeps.
No, we just, you know what, man? I call bullshit on a lot of this, man. Like, for instance, oil. Like, we're refusing to drill on our own soil for oil. We could sustain ourselves. I don't understand why we need to go and get the shit from other countries when we're literally sitting on an abundance of it and we're refusing to just drill on our own soil.
We don't need oil.
Talk about oil for a minute and sitting on it. So and I think what you mean is we as the
food. How many farmers do we have, man? Seriously, food? How many farmers? Are you really going to say that the price of food needs to go up? Then how about we stop sending food to other countries and worry about feeding our country first?
Well, I mean, this all comes down to power. Now, right now, you might remember a couple months ago that Brandon, in his infinite wisdom and glory, he said that he was going to release a couple thousand barrels of oil, so that way we could decrease the cost of gas on an average of about 3 cents. If you're looking at it per capita per person, we're each saving 3%, right? If he so wanted, he could decrease, let's say California, some places are $6. He could decrease the gas price in California to $2 a gallon, decrease the average price across the country, because I'm not talking about oil that needs to be farmed. I'm talking about oil that we have saved, that is already accessed, that the the government is hoarding from us. So, and what the government in turn does, they say, well, with the price of gas going up, what we suggest you do is maybe don't go out on Sundays. When you're on the highway, use your cruise control, use neutral if possible. They're giving us all these great tips as to what we can do to make gas more affordable, when all they have to do is just release the fucking gas. They already have it drummed up.
They don't want to do that. It hurts the money. Remember, the banks run this country. The corporations run this country. The president, both parties are the same party. Trump, Biden, Bush, Obama, they're literally all the same.
We need to change that.
Reserve is a private fucking bank. If you didn't know that, folks at home, I've audited a couple of these places. So they are a private bank, but their police have public. What's up, Barcode the Gamer? Their police have public policing powers. Private institution is what handles public money, but it has public police powers. I mean, the way that the entire government is operating doesn't work. And like Beast said, the best thing we can do is vote with our feet.
So have you guys heard of the petrodollar? I'm sure you guys have heard of that before.
Yes.
So oil companies, they're just raising their gas prices because they can get away with it. Just like the food companies, they're doing that. Remember, inflation is only money being added to the supply. Everything else is not inflation. And also, so we have the whole oil thing, like with Ukraine, just for everybody who's been brainwashed by the news. Basically, Ukraine, the United States does not want Russia selling natural gas to Germany, and they made a stipulation that Ukraine has to shut down a pipeline if Russia were to invade. And the United States has forced Russia into this position by trying to arm Ukraine. It's all about money. I'm trying to tell, everything is about money. All of this is about money, not for Russia, but for the United States. Raytheon, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, Newport News, all these people are making billions off of just the thought of Ukraine and Russia going to war. Their stock prices are rising. It's all about money. It's not about anything else. There's no oops reason. It's all planned and specific.
We saw the same thing with Venezuela.
Yeah.
Venezuela. When we decided it was our global position to usurp, I mean, and I think their president was a piece of shit. I'm not saying that, but because he was a piece of shit, but we thought it was our place to usurp, install a new president, recognize him publicly as a president. Yep. We promised the global community that in 7 days, that president would be deposed. He is still in power, but I think it's funny that we are playing the same, God that we fought against when we were under British rule. When it's an interesting fact, you might not know that when the president was thinking about what his name should be, what they should call him instead of the president, Jefferson came up with a couple names: His Excellence, His Highness, His Royal Self, His Grace. And then George Washington
was not with it.
We're not. That's not what we're trying to do. I'll be a president for the people, but we're not trying to be back in, under a British, crown rule. And that's what we're trying to impose now on a global scale. I mean, we're trying to police the entire planet, and it's just not fucking working. We cannot handle dirty cops beating unarmed citizens in podunk towns in our own backyards. We have absolutely no fucking place, business, rhyme, reason, or cause to be interfering in the politics of the fucking world.
Yeah, it's
exactly.
No, go on ahead. I talked a lot.
All right, I'm about to go with. I mean, and then James Freeman, the story that he's putting out right now about the homeless vet that got arrested and his dog got tased.
Yeah,
like this is nuts. Like, when it comes to that in itself, policing the police and getting the accountability back on for the government is what our needs to be focused on. That's the only thing that I can really agree with Trump on when he said America first. That's where we have to focus our efforts at. His and when it comes to the fossil fuel and all that, I hate it. I hate it with a passion. Like, honestly, Obama's biggest failure in that presidency was the auto bailout. If he would have simply brought them all to the table and said, you know what, I'll bail you out, you all pay me back X amount, but guess what, Ford, I'm going to make y'all a deal. You don't have to pay me back, but you have to crack that vault and give everybody here at the table the formula and the patent for the hemp biodiesel.
Fuck that though, right? I mean, isn't that? I mean, fuck that. Isn't that commerce? You know what I mean? Like, if a company is meant to go down, that's the way of business. That is the American way.
But I completely agree with that. But if he wanted to go ahead and piss on the country like he did with that auto bailout, we should have got something out of it. Listen, and what we should have got was getting off of fossil fuels. We should have been getting put on to electric, hydro, and hemp biodiesel. And we could have been give a 10-year plan. We could have been on hemp biodiesel.
Yeah, but let's talk about Obama. And let's just be completely, like, totally honest with each other. He was a fucking moron, all right? Everyone wanted to rag on George Bush for the debt that he accrued. In his first 9 months in office, Obama tripled the debt that George Bush had accrued over his last 4 years. Number one. Number two, Obama was a fucking moron. There was one reason. There was one reason.
Insurance.
Yeah, there was one reason. There was one reason Obama got into office, and he had the right skin color at the time. And people can hate me for saying that. I am absolutely by no means racist, but I don't think we should hire someone because of the color of their skin, because we just haven't had a black president or a Hispanic president, Latino or Indian, whomever. I think we should hire the right person that's right for the job. That's not what happened. I think that I don't care what color, sexual creed, or orientation someone is when they take a position, if they are most qualified. Obama was certainly not close to qualified, and now we have his fucking pinch hitter running the fucking country into the goddamn ground.
Just remember, or as my brother like to put it out, like, hey, Obama is close. Like, hey, I would love to have somebody in the office as my third termer, and I just call everything behind the shadows, behind the curtain. That could be also what's going on. But it's also
president's too much credit.
Exactly. But the biggest problem of it is it's mommy and daddy, and we're the fucking kids, and we need auntie, grandma, uncle, grandpa, somebody to come in. We need more than two parties. Two parties just does not work. It's humiliating on a global scale for us to be like, all right, we just go back and forth.
Parties aren't even inclusive of themselves anymore. I mean,
no.
Look at what a Democrat was, what a Democrat is, what a Republican was, and what a Republican is. Most activists, believe it or not, people, and if you're in the comment section and you back what we do, for the most part, you are libertarian / conservative / constitutionalists. It's an amalgamation of the three. If you believe in free speech, your right to possess and carry firearms, your right to redress your grievances, there really is no such thing as a constitutionalist anymore by party. It's more of by trait and attribute, right?
Yeah.
But that's what we are. We're libertarians, conservatives, constitutionalists, all thrown into one jar and shaken the fuck up. I mean, the right is now the middle. The left is Antifa. We are on a crash fucking course.
There is no left-wing government. There is no left-wing government. It's all right-wing government. The whole government's right-wing. If we had any left-wing government, we would have universal health care, nationalized food source, housing.
No, that's just because of money in the pockets from lobbyists. That's just the lobbyists coming in and screwing everything up. I got Joyce Beatty as my rep. I know. She comes out just for good things.
If we had any left-wing in government, the lobby wouldn't matter because they'd be left-wing. But the fact of the matter is, Joe Biden is right-wing. He right now, you know what? Everyone's crying about Ukraine. You know what the United States is doing to Somalia, bombing and starving children in Yemen? You know what I'm saying? Like, they're literally actively drone striking Africa right now and causing a famine in Yemen. multiple countries. Like, it's a joke. It's a joke to the international community. Like,
That's what America does.
Yeah. And just again, Obama, Bush, all of those people were ran by Goldman Sachs, Blackstone, like
There's only four
Obamacare.
companies that own everything.
You know,
Yeah,
as much as
Blackstone is the
people
biggest
dog
one.
on Bill Clinton, what I will say is I'm not like a Clinton fan per se. However, our economy, and it still sucked during Clinton, but our economy and our global and our world position was never better before or after Clinton. He was really good at stabilizing the economy, and he improved our relationships with other countries. A lot of the stuff that we're seeing now is actually from him. I would never fucking vote for him again, but when we look at the situation that we're in, I mean, we vote lesser of two evils. I mean, that should not be when an American wakes up and goes to the voting booth and says, all right, person A is a dick, person B is a really big dick, and person C is the biggest dick I've ever seen. I'll go with person A because they're the less of all evils. This is what governs our land and defends our Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic. We should never settle for less. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Less for our family if we had a choice.
Like, I love every presidential term. It's like, I tell them, like, I'm not voting for neither one of them. I got a third party person in the race. I'm sorry. Well, what are you going to do when you screw the race up and you throw the election? My goal is that enough people vote for the third party that it does screw up the election, and maybe at the very least we have to redo it.
No one wants to run independent because it lessens their chance of winning. So there really is no such thing as a true independent, but let's put it into perspective. For example, I have 75,000 subscribers, just under 20 million views. It is said to get a local representative seat in my area, I would need to get 15,000 votes. Now, my video that I dropped today, 6 hours ago, is on schedule to have 15,000 views in the next 3 hours. So for all intents and purposes,
but that's globally.
A shitty video that I drop could get me those votes. Like, we have the ability to
only if it got you in your district.
Yeah, it's not going to do a goddamn thing. What are you going to be in the fucking school administration?
Yeah, unless it's a local thing, that number don't matter.
Juice boxes. Make sure juice boxes are fucking 10% cheaper than they were. The fuck out of here.
Fuck being cheaper, be more fucking healthier and organic. Healthier. Shit.
Let me offer you guys an end game topic of government. So everyone's talking about voting, president, all this. We have to move on from that system and think decentralized. So you guys know how the blockchain works, the system that runs Bitcoin. Well, imagine everybody gets, we the working class create a blockchain system that is basically the voting and government smart contract. So everybody gets issued like every year voting credits. And that's all that is to vote, is your voting credits. And you send it to a certain thing and it's just all electronic. And then so anytime all these laws and rules, everything needs to be up for popular vote. That's why I say the Constitution needs to be rewritten by the actual people, not rich landowners, slave owners, but actually by the people. We do a big national popular vote, and we start like the things on like Terry versus Ohio. Shit, like, well, one, the Supreme Court shouldn't exist, the Senate shouldn't exist, the Electoral College shouldn't exist. All these things can be ebbed away if we have popular vote. Because the one thing that can't be corrupted is all of us, because that's not the definition of corruption, then that's just how it is, you know? If, yeah, they say if everyone voted rape was legal, it'd be legal, but that's just really not going to happen. And we can have systems where we can't put laws like that up on the block. So when you guys think about presidents and all this, none of that will work ever. You'll look what happened to JFK. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the only good president we've really had, in my opinion, since JFK, the most honest, I should say, most sincere, was Carter. After Kennedy, everybody was a cunt bitch, except for Carter. That motherfucker.
You know, Reagan was all right with not so much policy, but enacting policy. Reagan was okay.
Reagan might have been okay, but you know what? Carter put the solar panels on the roof of the White House, and then Nancy said take them down because of her fucking rose garden. You lose me when you no.
You know, Reaganomics were the worst thing to happen to this country.
Where would we be at electricity wise and off the grid and independent electricity and solar panels if the solar panels never would have left? Yeah, if we're off the
grid, they can't listen. If we're off the grid, they can't charge us for electricity. They can't charge us for utilities, and I think that's what Beast was going after.
Yes,
fuck them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. One, they're not even close to the richest people. Like the Rothschilds, the people who own the banks, those are the actual wealthy people. But one way we take away all their power is by looking at all that money in the bank and not giving a fuck. Like we could literally get together as the working class, at 3.5% of us, which is about 15 million, the population of Los Angeles and New York, and just create a new working class currency and just literally, like, if we started to doing that, the whole system would collapse. Because you guys have to understand, the United States dollar, most of it, I know I'm talking about money a lot, but you guys have to understand, it all boils down to the dollar. But the reason why you're seeing a lot of inflation right now, and it's only going to get worse, is because one, Russia just went back onto the gold standard. That's going to kill the dollar. That right there is going to kill the dollar. It's going to be probably the strongest currency after this whole debacle.
Good fucking move. Smart move.
Yeah. It was dumb on America's part because right now the Federal Reserve is stuck between a rock and a hard place. Either they lower the interest rate and the whole market economy crashes, or they stop printing money and infusing the stock market, and then the whole thing collapses. So what you guys are going to see?
Fuck it. Let's have a new apocalypse. Let's go into the fucking dark ages. Only the strong survive. There's no fucking bailouts. It's people like me, Beast, Food Toy, and Uncle Sawyer, Buckeye Auditing Transparency, out there with our guns and our fucking cameras, and we'll see what goes to the top.
It will be an apocalypse.
We're gonna run out of bullets. First off, who's the forger? We need swords and knives and shit like that. Fuck the guns and the bullets. Yeah, they're gonna run out. They're gonna run out.
Winter is not coming.
Bring a piano wire across the street.
God, there. Thank you. I'll take that.
Instructions unclear. I just punched the postman.
Ron, real quick. So that's why I said his policy effectiveness. I'm talking about as far as institutional policies, not so much the financial policies, obviously. But guys, everyone go ahead and take a last word. I'm about 20 minutes over. Beast, I'm going to write for everyone, my email in the chat. I'd love to have you email me. So the next time I'm on, John J1487 at gmail.com. So the next time I'm on, feel free to come on up, talk shop. Everyone else take the floor for a quick moment to share your thoughts.
I'll go first. It's always a pleasure getting on the panel with you, as always. Thank you for the opportunity. If anybody wants to call, 614-645-3111 and ask them to get the mayor and the police chief to get the public records office open for pickups, that'd be greatly appreciated. Also, Josh, I need you to give me a call about my Facebook Live. I'm having issues with that. But, everybody stay classy out there.
Stay classy, San Diego. Futoy?
The people have the power. Stay with it. Keep supporting each other. Fight for our rights. Never give up. And we will win in the end. That's the truth.
Me? Question everything. Easy as that.
Way to bring us home. Everyone for sticking with us, thank you. Please remember, on your way out, if you haven't already, to smash that like button. Make sure you go to Buckeye Auditing Transparency. Smash the like button. Tell them AFA sent you. Food Toy, also as well as Beast. Everyone in the channel, in the chats, moderators, especially members, we really appreciate you. We're back on the road, so stay tuned for a new comment. Not just for myself, but from others. Yo, Big Nick, what is up, dude? Big Nick's in the chat. Everyone subscribe to Big Nick, a fucking legend and an OG in the game. And don't be afraid to share other people's videos. And guys, if you see something you don't like from me, don't throw it, up to activism. Go watch somebody else. If you see that I do something, like, just remember, like, AA has a good saying. It's Big Nick wants to come on. You can come on real quick, bud. AA has a good saying. It's take what you need and leave the rest. If you can take one decent thing from each activist and build your own collage of what you think America should be and how you can fight for it, then absolutely go ahead, do it.
Yep.
It's only going to benefit us in the end, with every single person we have out there helping to fight for what we need and to help us get there.
It's a new day and age.
I dropped the link in the chat, Big Nick. If you want to come up for just a second, that's cool. I'll wait for you, man. Much love and respect. Nick is an OG in the game. We'll give him a second to come up here.
Love his videos.
Yeah, I remember watching him on the channel.
His intro is pretty cool too, isn't it? And he has a good editor, I've noticed.
Yeah, I kind of suck at the whole fucking editing. I mean, I can clip things together pretty good. Most people watch our videos. It takes me about 15 minutes to edit a video. What I always tell people, if you're working with an Android, don't record for an hour long. Keep your hand, record, pause, and then go back when you need to. We have...
See, that's where I think my media stuff comes in, and it's like I'm doing commercials.
Hey, Nick.
What's up, Big Nick?
Big Nick?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. How you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you, bro?
I'm doing okay. I don't know who's all on the panel who was in the military or former military, so you guys have to excuse me because I am former military.
Former bootlicker, myself.
And the one thing that I have to say about, I love my country, man. Like, I really, 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 really love this country, and I believe in this country. And I think the Constitution is a document that is almost perfect, but still needs to be constantly worked upon. With that said, we was talking about the dollar and the dollar going under. I can promise you guys this: the dollar will never, ever, ever go under. Not as long as we have the baddest military in the planet, it'll never go under, ever. Ever.
Yeah, no, it might not disappear, but it'll considerably.
It'll always be. It would always be the world's currency. It doesn't matter if other currency is more valuable than the dollar, right? But it's the world's currency, and it's the only form of currency that is spent anywhere in the world.
Big Nick, the only thing more powerful than the U.S. military is the United States population. That's
absolutely
the fact. And when the U.S. people lose faith in the dollar, how are they going to pay the military? How are they going to? The system that they have, the power that they have, will just evaporate as fast as the Berlin.
That goes back to the people, though, Beast, as well, because we were talking about sacrificing essential liberty for temporary security. Yes, the people could the inmates could overrun the asylum, but we, the people, are not the same people that we were in 1775. We had nothing to lose, and we were willing to go balls out right here, right now. It's a totally different populace.
On the
but you have over 1 million servicemen and women that wouldn't allow the inmates to take over the asylum. They just wouldn't do it. So I understand, yes, the American population is more powerful than the military.
We outnumber the military 300 to 1.
Absolutely we do. Absolutely we do. However, the military outnumbers the guns 300 to 1.
The military is not just some mindless machine. It's made up of poor kids that are just in the military to avoid poverty and that aren't down to go around shooting a bunch of Americans. Like you guys.
Everybody say hello to little Nick.
Hello,
hello,
Nick.
Hello, buddy.
Hello. Won't be able to operate like it used to be. Like all of the submarines and the battleships, those require teenagers and young kids to operate. And when those people lose faith in the system, then it's over. You don't have a military. It's going to collapse just like the Berlin Wall in the Soviet Union.
But it can't really be the military against the people, because the military, it's their wives, it's their fathers, it's their mothers, it's their uncles,
Yeah.
it's their
And
family.
You're right. You're right. You're right to a point, right? You're right to any future people that may want to be in the military. But for the people that's in the military, we don't operate on faith. We operate on blind loyalty to the oath that we took. We follow orders. Ours is not. We have a saying. Yours is not the reason why. Yours is the do or die, right?
But what happens?
And we wholeheartedly believe that.
But what happens, Big Nick, when them orders that come down are just unmoral, unethical, unconstitutional? Go against
that's a double-edged sword that you have there, because a soldier military personnel is not obligated to follow any order that is immoral, unethical, or goes against the oath that they swore when defending this country from enemies, foreign and domestic. But on the flip side, if they don't take that order, it's like, who stands up for no one? But, you know, a good point is that, yes, the military, when looking at us as a citizen, if it was about a one-on-one, they do have way better access to technology. But I don't think it's impossible for the people, even though we're outgunned, but overmanned, to be able to step up and take control. I mean, look at Benghazi. I mean, Benghazi was an absolute total show that underprivileged, underarmed, and undertrained could actually go up against the U.S. military because the U.S. wasn't fucking prepared. Now
Josh, that wasn't the U.S. military, Josh. That was a security detail that was assigned to that, and it was undermanned and unstaffed. And the ambassador, Chris, I forget his last name, but the ambassador had requested many times for additional Chris Stevens. I apologize for forgetting his name. He's a hero. He requested numerous times for additional support at that Benghazi spot. However, our Congress at the time, who was Republican led, I'm not placing the blame on anyone. I'm just pointing out facts. Denied that request several times.
Absolutely. And isn't that the point, though? What I'm saying is, and when I say military, is that there were State Department guys, there were active military, and then there were contract guys that were a mix of Rangers, SEALs, so on and so forth. However, they didn't need to be the failure. The full backing of the United States fucking government and the full force of our American freedom failed them. So you had these uneducated, underwhelmed, underarmed people that was able to take on the U.S. and fuck them, damn them to hell. That time they got us. The ability is in existence. We overcame tyranny to be in this country that we all love right now. That's why when I talk about sovereign citizens, I say, fuck that. I love my country. I got the tattoo of the flag on my arm. I love it. But we need to be able to fucking redirect it.
You know what I think we love more than, I know we like to say we love our country, but I think what we actually love is the idea of our country.
You're right.
I think that's what we love. The idea. Right?
Because I think you know what's going on right now.
The idea is just that. It's an idea. It's borderline a myth, but that's okay because that's an idea that we will constantly and continue to chase and love.
I mean, this country definitely hasn't loved us. It calls us 3/5 of a person in the Constitution, and slavery is still legal. The war on drugs is started over racism.
Okay,
you know, our whole military in the Middle East was one big war crime. We should have never been in the Middle East. 9/11 was a scam.
Absolutely.
I'm sorry, but it's fact. Absolutely. If anything, we should have been in Saudi Arabia. So let me just say again, you're going to have basically the officers and up, they'll be down to kill everyone. But the rank and file, all the freaking specialists and corporals and guys who just made sergeant, they're not going to be down to run around killing and rounding up American civilians. It's not going to happen. And they're the majority.
Do you guys agree with this?
I agree.
Do you guys agree with this? That if there was ever, quote unquote, a new world order, it'd be under the tuteleship and the culture of America.
I mean, I think we're already in the first.
There would never be. My point is, there would never be a foreign flag to stand tall on this land ever.
Well, listen,
this country is about to collapse.
I don't think
not as long as our military is the strongest in the world, it won't.
I don't think American is a nationality. I think American is a way of life. which goes to what you said, Big Nick. I think that America is more than just a flag. It's more than just a symbol. It is who we are. And you don't have to be from America to be American to believe in those concepts. But I think for the past 10 years, we've been on a slow boat to that new world order. And that slow boat is hitting current and steadily speeding up.
Did you guys know that this is the only country in the world that the moment you step on its land or its territory, that you're covered under every blanket of citizenship that the Constitution offers except one, and that's the right to vote? Other than that, you get, once you step foot on our properties, our territories, our land in America, quote unquote, you basically are afforded the exact same liberties as everyone else that's here. That's the only country in the world that does that.
But we're taking, Big Nick, we're taking what America was and what we want America to be and trying to create a perfect picture of what America is. And what it is, what it was, and what it needs to be are three separate.
Do you guys know the true enemy of America? Do you guys know what that is? You may kick me off of this, even though I want to be a billionaire, but I hate capitalism.
Okay, I agree with that.
Capitalism is a true enemy of all civilization.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
When was capitalism created? During American slavery. Thank you.
Hey, let me ask
I want to be a billionaire, but I hate capitalism.
Listen, Big Nick, I got a quick question for you because someone sent me this funny joke. If money is the root of all evil, why do they accept donations at church?
Yep.
Don't even get me started on church.
Because religion isn't real, and we was put here on the Big Bang because of the Big Bang.
I'm with buddy. I'm with you, and that's the conversation that's gonna turn this from 90% thumbs up to 10% thumbs up. I will tell you one thing.
Look, I empathize with the religious. I empathize with religious people because they're only religious out of fear, and I don't want to live my life in fear.
No,
you're absolutely right. There's someone that's never prayed in their fucking life. And as soon as that plane goes down and the masks start dropping, they're like, before the flight, they're like, yeah, fuck God, I don't have time for church. That plane goes down, they're like, listen, Jesus, I was kind of a fucking dick. Forgive me. Toss me a bone on this one. You and your fucking friends, get me on that boat with all the animals. Let's take care of this.
I'm going to tell you why I would never do that. Because from all of the stories and the information that I've gathered over my indoctrination and my reprogramming, reality. I don't want to serve, and I know we're going to another tangent, but I don't want to serve a God that makes you live in fear. I don't want to serve a God that haven't showed me any proof, but to punish me if I don't go by the information that was given to me, even though I don't have any proof. If me being a good person, being charitable, honoring my father, my mother, taking care of my children, helping my fellow man is not enough to get me there, then I don't need to go.
Good point. Good point, Big Nick.
As far as I'm concerned, if a baby will go to hell if a priest in a dress doesn't splash water on it, that never really quite made sense to me. But everyone listen.
Me too.
I got to wrap this up because I have a conference call that I'm running late on.
Okay,
so
Josh.
everyone...
One last thing, Josh. If we do go to hell, we have to accept that it was God's will.
Yeah, we're going to hell. That I'm the first in line.
Well, it could be
nothing we can do about it. If it's God's will, there's nothing you can do about it.
It could be Krishna. It could be Buddha.
Just live your life, buddy.
Everyone,
I love you guys. Be safe. I got some work coming out. I hope you guys subscribe and check me out. I got some new work coming out this week, and I hope you guys enjoy it.
I've been subbed for years, buddy. We'll be watching.
Me too.
All right, Josh. Stay safe. You guys be easy, man. Love you guys. Be safe.
I love you too, man. Everyone subscribe to Big Nick, South Florida Accountability. I just fucking got a burp in some weird thing in my throat. Buckeye State Transparency.
That was Jesus. That was Jesus.
That was Jesus. He was telling me you was talking shit. Oh yeah, motherfucker. I pray to the YouTube gods because they run my AdSense. That's about it. We love you guys.
I pray to unicorn.
Stay safe.
All right.
Thanks. That's the reason I stopped here today.